2013-020801, complainant alleged that purchased a car that complainant had a properly recorded lien on and scrapped it without notifying complainant or obtaining complainant's permission. Investigator was unable to locate anyone operating under respondent's alleged name or any evidence of business activity at the provided. Eventually admitted to not being sure of respondent's actions or location. Recommendation close. Case number 2013-19311. Complainant alleged that respondent was operating an unlicensed dismantling recycling business out of an auto parts store. While respondent does sell both new and used auto parts, no dismantling or salvage operations take place at his store. Recommendation closed. 2013-012961. Complainant dealer alleged that respondent dealer was engaging in unethical business practices. Insufficient evidence of violation. Recommendation close. Number 4, case number 2013-014151 and 14152. Respondents were reportedly convicted of felony offenses involving certain transactions that took place at their respective dealerships. Documentation revealed that the respondents entered conditional guilty pleas that will allow them to maintain clear criminal histories if conditions are met. At this time, respondents are in compliance. Recommendation closed, subject to review if respondents 5, multiple, respondent 1 and respondent 2, 2013-018171 and 2013-018172. Respondents' dealers are commonly owned. Respondents were alleged to be intermingling inventory without regard to title or surety bond coverage. Photos were taken of respondent number 2's lot with respondent number 1's name, information, and logo posted on numerous vehicles. Respondents confirmed that they rotated inventory between two locations without transferring title. 2013-018811 and 2013-018882. Complainant consumer alleged that respondent number 1 altered the terms of the financing after the sale and refused to provide tags or title. During the investigation, it was determined that respondents were again commingling inventory, leading to confusion over the actual owner of the vehicle sold to complainant. Complainant also alleged that respondent number 1 misled her over the condition of the vehicle. Respondents, in response to the complaint, alleged that complainant was behind on her payments and asked the Motor Vehicle Commission to not renew her tags. 2013-022921, 22922, and 2013-025151, which is a duplicate of 22921. Allegations are similar to the above complaint but involve an unrelated consumer. Respondents disputed the complaint and asked that since complainant was behind on her payments, that her tags not be renewed by the Motor Vehicle Commission. In addition, the financing documents provided by the respondent contain additional upfront payments due allegedly for sales tax. However, the down payment provided by complainant clearly included payment of the sales tax, and the amount of upfront payments due exceed the amount of sales tax charged by respondent. Recommendation, authorization for revocation of respondent's motor vehicle dealer license due to off-site, unlicensed sales, and fraudulent or deceptive acts to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Case number 6, 2013-019301. Complainant alleged that respondent sold vehicle to them without disclosing that the vehicle had a rebuilt title. Investigation revealed that the respondent did not disclose status of title and that the respondent offered a $1,000 refund when confronted about the title status. Recommendation, authorization for civil penalty in the amount of $4,000 for not disclosing status of rebuilt title, a fraudulent or deceptive act per 55-17-114, to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 7, case number 2013-022471. Respondent was issued a notice of violation for failure to maintain a temporary tag log and assessed a $1,000 civil penalty. Respondent's check for payment was returned for insufficient funds, and respondent has not yet made arrangements to pay the fine. Recommendation, authorization for a civil penalty in the amount of $1,000 for failure to maintain a temporary tag log to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 8, case number 2013-023531. Complainant consumer alleged that respondent dealer would not provide title to vehicle even though vehicle was paid for in full at time of purchase. Investigation revealed respondent to be an unlicensed dealer operated by a former owner salesman. Respondent confirmed that he sold vehicles without a license, but at the time of the sales he thought his dealer application would be approved soon. He has since closed the business. Recommendation, authorization for civil penalty in the amount of $3,000 for unlicensed dealer activity in violation of 55-17-109. Case numbers 2013-024031 and 24032. Complainant consumer alleged that respondent dealer altered the odometer of a vehicle purchased by complainant. Investigation revealed that respondent number 2 was conducting unlicensed sales from another unrelated business. Respondent number 1, a licensed Alabama dealer, confirmed that respondent number 2 did sell the vehicle in Tennessee for respondent number 1 and did so with their bill of sale. The odometer fraud issue has already been referred to the Department of Safety. Recommendation, authorization for a civil penalty for respondent number 1 in the amount of $1,000 for unlicensed dealer activity in violation of 5517-109. Authorization for civil penalty for respondent number 2 in the amount of $500 for unlicensed sales activity in violation of 5517-110 to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 10, case number 2013-026091. Complainant at a loan company alleges that respondent dealer did not pay off lien within 30 days after purchasing. Owner of vehicle obtained title loan from complainant, then sold vehicle to respondent without notifying them of lien on title. Vehicle is over 10 years old and respondent did obtain a bill of sale and copy of driver's license. Complainant may pursue civil remedy against owner. Recommendation is to close. Number 11, case number 2013-026151. Investigator observed vehicles parked in an unlicensed lot with prices displayed. Contact made with the owner respondent, who stated he had not sold any cars yet, but was in the process of obtaining his dealer license. Respondent holds a valid salesperson license for another dealership. Respondent warned of unlicensed sales and removed the vehicles from the lot and had applied for a dealer's license. Recommendation, authorization for civil penalty in the amount of $1,000 for unlicensed dealer activity in violation of 517-109 and off-site sales in violation, $500, and off-site sales in violation of 5517-110, $500, to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 12, case number 2014-001441. Complainant alleged that respondent auction was acting as a dealer without a license. Investigation found all of respondent's licensure and paperwork in compliance and no evidence of unlicensed activity. Recommendation, close. Number 13, case number 2014-001771. Complainant alleged that respondent dealer improperly repossessed vehicle. Complainant admitted to not paying deferred down payment on time, however, and finance contract signed by complainant gives respondent right of repossession if in default. Recommendation, close. Number 14, case number 2014-001821 and 22. Complainant consumer alleged that the respondent dealer misrepresented condition of vehicle. Investigation revealed that sale was between private individuals and no evidence of unlicensed dealer activity was obtained. Recommendation, closed. 15, case number 2014-002011. Complainant, a former employee of respondent dealer, alleged that she worked as an unlicensed salesperson for respondent and sold at least 8 vehicles in 2 weeks while unlicensed. Respondent acknowledged that complainant was employed by them and they were training her to be a salesperson, but that her employment was terminated before that could occur. Witnesses, buyers who allegedly purchased from complainant were mostly uncooperative, but investigator was able to confirm that complainant acted as unlicensed salesperson in at least one sale, primarily based on respondent's own reluctantly provided paperwork. Recommendation, authorization for civil penalty in the amount of $500 for unlicensed sales activity in violation of 5517-110. 16, case number 2014-002121. The respondent dealer has been operating without a surety bond in place for the protection of the consumer since December 20th, 2013. Recommendation, authorization for the revocation of respondent's motor vehicle dealer license to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 17, case number 2014-002131. Complainant alleged that respondent dealer did not transfer tag to vehicle as promised and paid for, and as a result, they could not properly register vehicle. Respondent alleged that complainant was asked several times to provide registration papers for tags to be transferred, and complainant did not do so. Vehicle was eventually repossessed for non-payment, and complaint was filed shortly after that. Complainant did not offer rebuttal to response. Recommendation, closed. Insufficient evidence of violation. Number 18, case number 2014-002191. Anonymous complainant alleged that respondent was acting as a dealer without a license. Investigation found that respondent, in an attempt to raise money for a nonprofit, was attempting to sell cars he had purchased and repaired. Respondent is aware of the 5 per year per household restriction and stated he had not and would not violate the law. Investigator did not find proof to the contrary. Recommendation, closed. Insufficient evidence of violation. Number 19, case number 2014-002561. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for possessing an executed certificate of title without the name of the transferee appearing on the certificate. Respondent is contesting the citation. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $500 for open title violation to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 20, case number 202601. Complainant alleged unlicensed dealer activity. Complaint was opened due to misidentification of respondent, but review shows that respondent has proper licensure. Recommendation, closed. Number 21, case number 2014-002981. Complainant alleged that respondent was dishonest regarding the advertised price of a vehicle. Complainant terminated negotiations with the respondent due to disagreement over value of trade-in and final price of vehicle. Sale was not concluded, and respondent disputes evidence as related by complainant. Recommendation, closed. Insufficient evidence of violation. Number 22, case number 2014-003981. Complainant alleges that respondent dealer would not assist her in obtaining a duplicate title after the original title was stolen. Respondent dealer replied that the complainant was not the actual purchaser. Her husband purchased the vehicle, and so respondent had obtained a duplicate title used in husband's name and mailed it to purchaser. No response from complainant. Recommendation closed, no evidence of violation. Number 23, case number 2014-004071. Complainant alleged that respondent sold her vehicle without disclosing prior unibody damage. Complainant stated that she learned of the damage when she went to trade in the vehicle 5 years after the purchase from respondent. Respondent denies the allegations and notes this was an as-is sale, which complainant does not dispute. Recommendation closed, no evidence of violation. Number 24, case number 2014-004151. Respondent was observed by investigator engaged in unlicensed sale and was issued an agreed citation for that violation. Respondent has not paid the citation nor contested the facts therein. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $1,000 for unlicensed sale to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 25, case number 2014-004161. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for employing an unlicensed salesperson. Respondent has not paid. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $1,000 for employing an unlicensed salesperson to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 26, case number 2014-004171. Respondent dealer received a notice of violation for engaging in unlicensed sales activity. The respondent has a dealer license but does not employ any licensed salespeople. Respondent has not contested the facts therein. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $22,000 for unlicensed sale, 44 incidents at $500 each, to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 27, case number 2014-004401. Respondent dealer received a notice of violation for employing unlicensed salespeople and for failing to maintain a temporary tag log. Respondent has not contested the facts therein. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $15,000 for unlicensed sales, 26 incidents at $500 each, and failing to maintain a temporary tag log at $2,000, to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 28, case number 2014-004531. Complainant consumer alleged that respondent dealer failed to deliver title. Shortly after complaint was filed and complainant hired legal counsel, title was obtained and delivered to complainant. Respondent did not respond to complaint as required. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $750 for failing to timely deliver title for $500 and failure to respond to communication from the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission at $250, settled by consent order or formal hearing. 29, case number 2014-004771. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for possessing an executed certificate of title without the name of the transferee appearing on the certificate and for an incomplete temporary tag log. Respondent has not paid the citation nor disputed the facts therein. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $4,000 to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 30, case number 2014-004851. Complainant consumer alleged that respondent dealer damaged her airbag system while working on an unrelated repair on her vehicle. Respondent denies the allegations and there is insufficient proof of any violation. Recommendation closed. Number 31, case number 2014-004921. Complainant consumer alleged that respondent sold her a salvage vehicle without disclosing status of title. Upon review, it was determined that additional information was needed from the complainant, but attempts to reach her for follow-up were unsuccessful. Recommendation closed. Number 32, case number 2014-004931. Respondent was issued an agreed citation due to open title violations. Respondent is disputing the allegations and the agreed citation was inadvertently deleted from the file system, so proof of the allegations is not available. Recommendation closed. Number 33, case number 2014-005011. Complainant consumer experienced mechanical problems shortly after purchase of vehicle from respondent. Mechanic who inspected car indicated possible flood damage, and complainant alleged that respondent did not disclose flood damage. Both Carfax and AutoCheck are clear, and respondent stated they have no knowledge of any flood damage. Sale was as is, which complainant acknowledges. Recommendation closed, insufficient proof of violation. Number 34, case number 2014-005021. Complainant consumer alleged that respondent dealer forged his signature and issued title to someone else. Respondent asserts that the complainant had the title and sold the vehicle to purchaser named on the title, and that they haven't had any dealings with complainant since sending the title to him after final payment was made on the vehicle almost a year after it was due. Complainant did not offer a rebuttal to respondent's denial. Recommendation closed. Number 35, case number 2014-005231. Complainant alleged that respondent sold her a salvage vehicle without disclosing status of vehicle. While vehicle had been in an accident with prior owner, it does not have and never had a salvage title. Complainant does seem to understand that the Carfax does not seem to understand, I'm sorry. Complainant does, the Carfax said her car is worth $90 less than Blue Book, not that it is only worth $90. She misunderstood what the Carfax said. And B, Carfax says that the total loss, but the title is actually clear. Recommendation is to close. Number 36, case number 2014-005281. Respondent dealer for the second time advertised vehicles without including dock fees in the sales price. 16 vehicles were posted. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $8,000, 16 incidents at $500 each for violation of TCA 5514114B1E to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 37, case number 2014-005751. Complainant consumer alleged that respondent dealer has not produced a title. The dealer is not a Tennessee dealer, and there is no indication the transaction took place in Tennessee. Recommendation is to close. Number 38, case number 2014-005951. Complainant alleges that respondent dealer misrepresented the vehicle and that she experienced several mechanical problems after purchase. Respondent provided documentation of as-is sale, signed buyer's guide, and noted that complainant put over 10,000 miles on vehicle before lodging complaint. Recommendation, close, insufficient proof of violation. Number 39, case number 2014-005961. Complaint was made regarding respondent selling salespeople licenses. This matter was considered at the April 2014 commission meeting and approved for discipline. Recommendation, closed, duplicate complaint. Number 40, case number 2014-006281. Complainant alleged that respondent dealer submitted her check for payment knowing there were insufficient funds to cover the full amount after promising to hold the check over the weekend. No evidence of a violation. Recommendation, closed. Number 41, case number 2014-006291. Complainant consumer alleged that the respondent dealer sold him a salvage vehicle without disclosing the status of the title. Respondent stated that they did not sell the vehicle to complainant, but to another purchaser who had knowledge of the salvage title. No response from complainant. Recommendation, closed. Number 42, case number 2014-006541. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for possessing 3 executed certificates of title without the name of the transferee appearing on the certificate and for failure to maintain a temporary tag log. Respondent is contesting the citation. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $2,500 for 3 open title violations at $500 each, and for failure to maintain a temporary tag log at $1,000 to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 43, case number 2014-00728. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for possessing an executed certificate of title without the name of the transferee appearing on the certificate and for failure to produce a temporary tag log. Respondent was able to produce the temporary tag log upon his return to the business on the day following the inspection. Respondent is contesting the citation. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $500 for open title violation to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. 2014-007431. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for possessing an executed certificate of title without the name of the transferee appearing on the certificate. Respondent is contesting the citation. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $500 for open title violation to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 45, case number 2014-007571. Out-of-state complainant alleged that respondent dealer sold a vehicle in Kentucky at their auction and has not produced a title. Civil matter between parties. Recommendation, closed. Number 46, case number 2014-007741 and 2014-010211. In 7741, respondent dealer received an agreed citation for violation of advertising rules. The agreed citation included a warning about ceasing the activity or more civil. Respondent acknowledged receipt of this agreed citation on May 1st, 2014. Respondent did not contest or pay the citation. In 10211, on May 21st, 2014, at the request of the Executive Director, Motor Vehicle Commission staff checked respondent's website to determine if appropriate corrections had been made to the advertising for which a notice of violation was previously issued. Staff found the advertisement was unchanged and not corrected. At that time, staff issued another agreed citation for violation of TCA 5517114B1E. A cease and desist letter was also issued by the Executive Director. 13 incidents of advertising violations were noted. Respondent is contesting the citation. Recommendation in 7741, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $5,000 for violation of TCA 5517114B1E to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. In 10211, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $65,000 at 13 incidents at $5,000 each for violation of TCA 5517114B1E to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 47, case number 2014-007881. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for expired county business license. Respondent is contesting the citation. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $500 for expired county business license to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 48, case number 2014-007891. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for failure to display dealer license and for failure to maintain a city or county business tax license. Respondent has not paid the citation. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $500 for failure to display dealer license and failure to maintain business license to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Case number 2014-007901. Complainant alleged that respondent dealer misrepresented the condition of the vehicle and would not return his deposit. Respondent dealer stated that negotiations for the vehicle broke down after the deposit was made and that deposits were non-refundable. While a sign is allegedly posted to that effect, there was no supporting documentation. Recommendation, close with letter of warning to advise all customers in writing that deposits are non-refundable. Number 50, case number 2014-007941. Complainant consumer alleged that respondent dealer misrepresented the condition of the vehicle. Respondent stated that they did not sell the vehicle to complainant, but to another purchaser who then sold it to. No response from complainant. Recommendation, close. Number 51, case number 2014-008251. Complainant alleged that respondent dealer did not pay off the lien on the trade-in vehicle within a reasonable time. Documents provided showed that the lien was paid off 5 weeks after the transaction. Respondent did not respond to the complaint. Authorization of his recommendation is authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $750 for failure to pay off lien timely at $500 in violation of TCA 5517114B2 and failure to reply to commission correspondence at $250 to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 52, case number 2014-008261. Complainant alleged that respondent dealer misrepresented car's condition prior to purchase and that the vehicle began to experience mechanical problems. Complainant alleges that respondent promised to fix it. Respondent provided proof of as-is sale, which complainant signed and does not dispute. Recommendation is to close. 53, case number 2014-008321. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for failure to maintain or display a city or county business tax license. Respondent has not paid the citation. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $250 for failure to display a city-county business license to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 54, case number 2014-008351 and 2014-009861. In 8351, respondent dealer opened their current location on February 1st, 2014. On May 1st, 2014, a field investigator met with respondent and issued a notice of violation, noting that respondent did not have a license for their current location, and therefore respondent was engaged in the selling of motor vehicles and had violated TCA 5517109, unlicensed activity, and TCA 5517110, unlicensed location. The investigator also found 3 unlicensed salespeople in the respondent's employ on that visit. Respondent was issued an agreed citation for the unlicensed activity from February 1st through May 1st, 2014, and a cease and desist instructing the respondent to stop all operations until such time the application had been approved. Respondent did not pay or contest the citation. In 9861, on May 14th, 2014, the Motor Vehicle Commission sent a field investigator to the respondent's place of business, where it was determined that the respondent was still operating without a valid license after being ordered to cease and desist business operations on May 1st, 2014, and issued a notice of violation for violation of TCA 5517109, unlicensed activity, 5517110, unlicensed location, and 55114B1G, employing salespeople without a license. Names of the unlicensed salespeople were provided by the field investigator, of which there were 8. Field investigator also attached 19 bills of sale dated from the time of the first notice of violation was issued on May 1st, 2014 through May 13th, 2014. Field investigator also provided a copy of the temporary tag log showing the sales between May 1st, 2014 through May 13th, 2014, which was after the respondent had received the notice of violation and the initial order to cease and desist. Respondent is contesting the citation. Recommendation in 8351, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $46,500 for 90 days of unlicensed activity in violation of TCA 5517-109 and TCA 5517-110 at 90 days at $500 each, and TCA 5517-114B1G, 3 salespeople at $500 each, to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Recommendation in 9861, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $200,000 for 13 days of unlicensed activity after cease and desist notice in violation of TCA 5517-109 and TCA 5517-110 at 13 days at $5,000 each and 19 sales at $5,000 each, and TCA 5517-114B1G, 8 salespeople at $5,000 each, to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 55, case number 2014-008391, 2014-008501, and 2014-008601. The above respondents have not provided proof of insurance as required under Rule 0960-1-.15. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $1,000 for failure to provide proof of garage liability or general liability insurance as required by Rule 0960-1-.15, to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 56, case number 2014-008751. Complainant consumer alleged that respondent dealer treated him poorly and performed hard pulls on his credit several times. No evidence of any violations, however. Recommendation is to close. Number 57, case number 2014-008761. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for failure to maintain a temporary tag log and for issuing more than 2 temporary tags to a consumer. Respondent is contesting the citation. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $2,500 for failure to maintain a temporary tag log at $2,000 and for issuing more than 2 temporary tags to one consumer for $500, to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 58, case number 2014-008941. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for 3 separate sales of an unlicensed line make. Respondent is contesting the citation. Recommendation is authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $1,500 for sale of unlicensed line make, to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 59, case number 2014-009101. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for employing an unlicensed salesperson and for employing a salesman with an expired license. Respondent is asking for the civil penalty to be waived. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $1,000 for employing an unlicensed salesperson. 60, case number 2014-009321 and 2014-009811. Complainants allege that the respondent dealer engaged in deceptive or fraudulent business practices. Respondents closed the business prior to complaints being filed. Recommendation, close and flag. Number 61, case number 2014-009691. Complainant alleged that he left his vehicle with respondent for repairs and that respondent then sold the vehicle without permission. Respondent provided information that the vehicle was actually repossessed for non-payment. Complainant did not offer any rebuttal. Recommendation, close. Number 62, case number 2014-009721. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for failure to maintain a temporary tag log. Respondent has not paid the civil penalty. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $2,000 for failure to maintain a temporary tag log, to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 63, case number 2014-010811. Complainant consumer experienced mechanical problems shortly after purchase of vehicle from respondent. Sale was as is, which complainant acknowledges. Recommendation, close. Number 64, case number 2014-010941. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for failure to maintain or display a city or county business tax license and failure to display a buyer's guide in a vehicle. Respondent has not paid the citation. Recommendation is for authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $500 for failure to display a city county business license and failure to display a buyer's guide, to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 65, case number 2014-00111411. Complainant consumer experienced mechanical problems shortly after purchase of vehicle from respondent. Sale was as is, which complainant acknowledges. Recommendation, close. Number 66, case number 2014-012421. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for failure to maintain city business license. It was determined after issuance that respondent did not receive notification from the city that the expiration of their license was changed by the city without explanation to 3/31/14 from 12/31/14. Recommendation is to close. Number 67, case number 2013-014901 and 2013-022511. Complainants allege multiple mechanical issues with their vehicles after purchase. Complaints were referred to the Consumer Protection Division of the Attorney General's Office for review under the Lemon Law provisions. Recommendation is to close. Number 68, case number 2014-004861. Complainant dealer indicated that he would protest the termination of his dealer agreement. A case was opened and complainant was advised of steps to take in order to formally protest before the commission, but has to date not done so. Recommendation is to close. Number 69, case number 2014-007521, 2014-007951, 2014-007961, 2014-007971, 2014-007981, 2014-007991, 2014-0001, 2014-008011, 2014-008021, 8031, 8041, 8051, 8081, 8091, 8101, 8121, 8131, 8141, 8151, 8161, 8171, 9281, and 9301. The above respondents were issued agreed citations for acting as a salesperson without a license. Further investigation has found that each of the respondents timely submitted completed applications to their dealerships, and that in each case the dealership failed to submit the paperwork of the respondents to the commission office. The dealerships in question were also issued civil penalties for employing unlicensed salespeople. Respondents are asking that their civil penalties be waived. Recommendation is to close. Number 70, case number 2014-008071. Respondent dealer received an agreed citation for employing unlicensed salespersons. Respondent is contesting the citation and states that on the day in question they were holding a staff sales event. He did have the completed license applications of the salespeople prior to the event, and that it was an oversight they were not sent into the commission. Recommendation is authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $5,000 for employing 10 unlicensed salespeople to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 71, case number 2013-023341, 2013-026181, 2014-001431, 1541, 4051, 5401, 5491, 7911, 7291, 8271, 8311, 2014-0101, 10001, 2014-004251, 2013-007661, and 2013-007662. The above complaints were withdrawn by the complainant or settled between the parties after submission of the complaint to the commission. Recommendation is to close. Number 72, case number 2014-801, 1781, 2531, 1511, 3021, 0821, 4021, 4541, 4011, 4141, 4241, 4521, 4691, 4751, 4831, 4881, 5241, 5261, 6871, 7551, 7552, 8241, 8901, 7931, and 10981. The above complaints were received stating that the respondent's dealers failed to provide titles or registration for vehicles purchased, or the dealers have been issued a citation which has not been paid. The dealer has abandoned the business and is no longer operating. Surety bond information has been sent to complainants when available. Recommendation is to close. Representation today, we have case number 2013-023481, which would be case number 73. Respondent was issued a civil penalty in the amount of $13,000 for 26 incidents of unlicensed sales activity at the April 2014 meeting. Respondent asked that the commission reconsider his penalty in light of the fact that he receives disability payments of $600 per month as his only income and is unable to pay the civil penalty. Recommendation is to close with a letter of warning. If you'll go to the next page, I have a supplemental legal report. Case number 1, case number 2013-017841 and 2014-014421. The above complaints were received stating that respondents' dealers failed to provide titles or registration for the purchased vehicles. The dealer has abandoned the business and is no longer operating. Surety bond information has been sent to complainants. Recommendation, close and flag. Number 2, case number 2013-01835, 2014-000921, and 2014-002071. Respondent's dealer license was authorized for revocation at the April 2014 commission meeting for fraudulent and deceptive activities involving the selling of salesperson licenses and failure to supervise employees, which included 51 agents of respondent acting as independent car brokers, and failure of respondent to then deliver title to purchasers of vehicles from those brokers. The above complaints involved the same conduct. Additionally, respondent's surety bond was terminated effective January 20th, 2004. Recommendation, authorization for the revocation of respondent's motor vehicle dealer license to be settled by consent order or formal hearing before an administrative law judge. Number 3, case number 2014-003971. Complainant alleged that respondent dealer sold her a vehicle with multiple mechanical issues, promised to fix them, but did not do so. Respondent denied the allegations and asserted that the vehicle was sold as is. During the course of the investigation, however, respondent was unable to produce a temporary tag log. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $2,000 for failure to maintain temporary tag log to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 4, case number 2014-002361 and 2362. Complainant alleged that respondent number 1 dealer had not produced title to the vehicle and he was unable to register the vehicle. Complainant additionally alleged that he thought he was purchasing the vehicle from a private seller and only became aware of respondent number 1's involvement when he was given the bill of sale. Investigation determined that respondent number 2, a licensed salesman for respondent number 1, was purchasing vehicles at auction as an authorized agent for an out-of-state dealer, then selling those vehicles through Craigslist. Respondent number 2 gave complainant a bill of sale with respondent number 1's information printed on it, then also produced a bill of sale with the out-of-state dealer information. Respondent number 2 confirmed that he had sold approximately 8 vehicles in this manner. No proof that respondent number 1 knew or authorized respondent number 2's unlicensed activity. Recommendation in 2361, close. Recommendation in 2362, authorization for the revocation of respondent's motor vehicle salesperson license for fraudulent or deceptive acts and off-site sales to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 5, case number 2014-008681. Complainant alleged that respondent engaged in a bait-and-switch scheme involving false advertising of the mileage on a vehicle complainant was interested in buying. When complainant arrived at the dealership to inspect the vehicle, complainant was told that the mileage might be incorrect and could be much higher due to a malfunctioning odometer. Respondent used his third-party advertising company who listed mileage in ad as reported by Carfax. Additionally, respondent denies any deception was intended, disclosed odometer issue as soon as complainant arrived to look at vehicle, and offered gas card to complainant for wasting his time. Recommendation, closed with letter of warning. Number 6, case number 2014-004741. Complainant alleged that he had multiple mechanical problems with a vehicle purchased from respondent dealer. Investigation confirmed the sale was as is, and respondent attempted to assist complainant with issues. During the course of the investigation, it was determined that respondent was not properly maintaining his temporary tag log. Recommendation, authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $1,000 for failure to maintain temporary tag log to be settled by consent order or formal hearing. Number 7, case number 2014-010071. Complainant alleged that he experienced several mechanical problems with vehicle after purchase. Respondent provided documentation of as-is sale. Recommendation, closed, insufficient proof of violation. And there you have it.
Comments or question from the Commissioner Board?
I had one in regard to open title violations. It seemed that each that I recollect had 5.
Yes, sir.
I think in the past we've fined $1,000. I'll only say that to be consistent.
I actually took that amount from a schedule provided to me from the complaint coordinator as well as past legal reports, but I can certainly change that for the future if
No, there's a list of the recommended fines, and I don't have that, but if you use that list, then I would think that would be. We did have a list, and I just didn't bring it with me. I don't have it with me, but we did have one.
if they are issued a citation for that offense and either don't contest it or don't pay, then it's doubled to $1,000. But the initial open title violation is $500 according to the schedule that I've seen.
Had one case, as I've looked through here, where failure to respond.
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty certain we've been doing $1,000 on failure to respond, and title was obtained with delivered to complainant. Respondent did not respond to complaint as required, and finding there for failure to respond.
On 250, I saw where on the others, is some other case in there where they did.
This one is $250.
Yes, sir. Would you like me to increase it to 1,000?
Just to be consistent. I was thinking it was pretty much $1,000 for failure to respond.
Those cases then on the legal report where I have recommended a fine of $250 for failure to respond, you would like me to increase it to 1,000?
Done that in the past.
Done it in the past.
Yes, sir. Then I will make that change.
One item here, this might have been corrected as it was read in. I just happened to catch it back, but the first case, 7741, the last four, last sentence, respondent did contest or pay the citation. I guess that is.
Did not, yes, sir, and I'll make that change. Thank you.
Comments, any? Okay. Based on the recommendation to the full commissioner. Oh, do we need a motion on our recommendation?
Just to be safe, that's probably the way to go, yes, sir.
We have a motion on the recommendation from the legal report. Fail to respond to the commissioner, we're going to increase the old fine to $1,000 based on where they are in the report. With that said, second. All right. We have a motion by Commissioner Clayton, and second by Chairman Roberts to accept the legal report. All those in favor of the report signify by saying aye. All those opposed, ayes have it, so ordered. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
I've got is the agenda. How do I get back to the? Call to order the July 14th meeting of the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission at 10:01 a.m. as scheduled. We'll begin with a roll call.
Van Webb. Commissioner Farrah Schaefer. Commissioner Don Parr. Commissioner Mark Purtle. Commissioner Reed Trickett. Commissioner John Murray. Commissioner Nate Jackson. Commissioner Donnie Hatcher. Commissioner Ronnie Fox. Commissioner Kevin Cullum. Commissioner Joe Clayton. Commissioner Billy Keck. Commissioner George Bass. Commissioner Stan McNabb. Chairman Roberts. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Next order of business is to adopt the agenda for the meeting, and I would like to request a change in the agenda to move the rulemaking hearing up before the license appeals. Is there a motion to approve? Commissioner McNabb made the motion, and Commissioner Fox seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the agenda is adopted. Okay, we need to approve or revise the minutes from the April 21 meeting. If you'll look those over and see if there are any revisions that need to be made. For approval by Commissioner Clayton.
Roberts, Commissioner Jackson, and we don't have the minutes at this point.
Have some paper copies that we can share with Commissioner. There we go. Are circulating the minutes by paper.
I'm okay with the minutes.
Got a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Jackson seconds the motion to approve the minutes as circulated from April 21, 2014 meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. All right. As amended on the circulated agenda, we have legal report, rule-making hearing, and that will be done by Counsel Kim Cooper.
Thank you. This rulemaking hearing is called to order. My name is Kim Cooper. I serve as staff attorney in the Department of Commerce and Insurance Division of Regulatory Boards. Director Stribling, would you introduce yourself for the record, please?
Leon Stribling, Director of the Motor.
It is Monday, July 14th, 2014. This rulemaking hearing is taking place pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 5204 in Room 1A of the Davy Crockett Tower, 500 James Robertson Parkway, Nashville, Tennessee. The purpose of this rulemaking hearing is to solicit comments on proposed rules that the Commission has made public in order to provide expedited licensure for military applicants and their spouses. A rule is defined as an agency statement of general applicability that implements or prescribes law or policy or describes the procedures or practice requirements of the agency. Proposed rules excuse me, are filed with the Office of the Secretary of State, notice is given to the public for comment, and a rulemaking hearing is held. Upon conclusion of the hearing and adoption of the proposed rules, the rules are forwarded to the Attorney General's office for review of legality. If approved, they are filed with the Secretary of State, which is responsible for publication, and the Government Operations Committee of the General Assembly. The rules must stay in the Secretary of State's office for 90 days, the end of which time will become the effective date. Those members of the public wishing to speak should sign up at the table in the front of the room. Only those who have signed will be permitted to speak. And at this time, I would note that no one signed up prior to the hearing to speak, and is that still the case? Notice of rulemaking hearing included the entire text of the proposed rules and was published in the May 2014 edition of the Tennessee Administrative Register. As the agency hears public comment on the proposed rules, I, as moderator, reserve the right to limit such comments if they become repetitive. I will now read the substance of the proposed rule into the record. This is Chapter 0960-01, General Rules, 0960-01-.28, Military Applicants, Spouses, Expedited Licensure. In pertinent part, Section 1 provides that an applicant for licensure meeting the requirements of TCA Section 4-3-1304 D1 may be issued a license upon application and payment of all fees required for the issuance of such license if, in the opinion of the Commission, the requirements for licensure of such other state are substantially equivalent to that required in Tennessee, or be issued a temporary permit as described herein if the Commission determines that the applicant's license does not meet the requirements for substantial equivalency, but that the applicant could perform additional acts, including but not limited to education, training, or experience, in order to meet the requirements for the license to be substantially equivalent. The Commission may issue a temporary permit upon application and payment of all fees required for issuance of a regular license of the same type, which shall allow such person to perform services as if fully licensed for a set period of time that is determined to be sufficient by the Commission for the applicant to complete such requirements. Subsection 1, after completing those additional requirements and providing the Commission with sufficient proof thereof as may be required, a full license shall be issued to the applicant with an issuance date of the date of the original issuance of the temporary permit and an expiration date as if the full license had been issued at that time. A temporary permit shall be issued for a period no longer than the length of renewal cycle for a full license of the same type. A temporary permit shall expire upon the date set by the Commission and shall not be subject to renewal except through the completion of the requirements for substantial equivalency as required by the Commission or by an extension of time granted for a good cause by the Commission. Should an extension to a temporary permit cause the permit to be in effect longer than the renewal cycle of a full license, then the holder of the temporary permit shall file a renewal application with such documentation and fees, including completion of continuing education, as are required by the Commission for all other renewals of a full license of the same type. Subsection 2, military education, training, or experience completed by a person described in TCA Section 4-3-1304 D1B small I, A through C, shall be accepted toward the qualifications in whole or in part to receive any license issued by the Commission if such military education, training, or experience is determined by the Commission to be substantially equivalent to the education, training, or experience required for the issuance of such license. Subsection 3, any licensee who is a member of the National Guard or a reserve component of the Armed Forces of the United States called to active duty, whose license expires during the period of activation, shall be eligible to be renewed upon the licensee being released from active duty without payment of late fees or other penalties. The license, certification, or permit shall be eligible for renewal pursuant to this subsection for 6 months from the person's release from active duty, and any person renewing under this subsection shall provide the Commission such supporting documentation evidencing activation as may be required by the Commission prior to renewal of any license pursuant to this subsection. Excuse me. No one signed in. I'll skip over asking for comments, and that concludes the rulemaking hearing. Thank you for being here today. Comments or questions? I would ask that you take a motion on the rule.
Motion to approve the rule?
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion to approve the rule? Mr. Clayton, and
Commissioner Jackson, second.
seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion of the motion? Like a roll call vote?
Yes, sir.
Director Scrivening, we'll have a roll call vote then for the motion to approve the rule.
Commissioner Clayton? Commissioner Parr?
Yes.
Commissioner Purtle?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Webb?
Yes.
Yes.
Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner McNabb?
Yes.
Chairman Roberts?
Yes.
You have an affirmative.
Okay, thank you. We'll go into our license appeals. We have a heavy agenda today for license appeals. Are there anyone out there that has a medical appointment or something? Attorneys have to be in court this morning. If not, we'll go with the schedule as in the agenda. Heath Franklin, Gateway Ford, Greenville, Tennessee. Mr. Franklin? Have someone with you from the store?
Yes, Lenny.
Would that gentleman
Lawson.
like to come up and take a front row seat there?
Point of order, Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
We don't have any documentation yet on the cases that's gonna be before us, myself and.
Neither do I.
On the way?
Someone could give us a package over here to share with, we'd be more than glad to share it.
I don't have,
Okay.
He said if we could recess for just a minute, they're bringing them down. Mr. Scribbling said if we could recess for just a moment, they're bringing them down.
let's have a 5-minute recess while they bring them down. They would like to see mine. I have it on the iPad if you want to see it.
When we get back on the record, I'm not going to interrupt the appeals because
Oh, you doing well? Yeah. Good. You look good.
Hey, Jeff, I got a thing from Les about some
Yeah,
measuring and
I keep seeing
manifesting that
you
they're
find no
supposed to do on
trouble.
reclaim. Are you aware of that?
Got our paper yet? Okay.
rocking and rolling.
Everyone has copies? I'm sorry. Everyone has copies of the license appeals. We'll get the meeting reconvened. All right. Mr. Franklin, would the staff give us the reason for denial of the application?
Chairman, Mr. Franklin was convicted of a felony aggravated assault. End of sentence was 11/7/11, and with the 5 years that our statute calls for, the 11/7 eligible.
Mr. Franklin, you know the reason that your application was denied, and would you like to speak to the commission on your thoughts on our granting a license?
So would, sir. I'd like to thank the commission for allowing me to appear before you today. My name is Heath Allen Franklin. I'm 35 years old, married, and I'm a proud father of a sweet 9-month-old little boy. On December the 11th, 2005, I was attacked by 3 men following a Christmas party. To this day, I'm not totally sure why. If I could go back in time, I would change my response to that incident, but at that time, I felt that my life was in jeopardy. I paid a terrible but deserved price for these actions, spread over a period of 7 years, only 3 months of which was behind bars, but that was enough. I was hard-working, responsible citizen before these events, and I was determined to return to that way of life. I appreciate Mr. Lawson and his faith and confidence in me. He has gone to great lengths to be here on my behalf. I would greatly appreciate the commission allowing me to have a license to sell automobiles at Gateway Ford so that I can continue to learn and grow and support my family. It is my goal to also help others, as Mr. Lawson has done for me, and help them rebuild their lives and be responsible contributors to society. Since my release, I have found consistent employment, paid off over $7,000 in fines, got my driver's license back, survived the sudden loss of my father 3 months ago, purchased a home, purchased and financed a new car, married, had a child with my wife, and was hired to work in detail and service at Gateway Ford. That's pretty much all I have.
Commission have questions for Mr. Franklin?
And you were protecting your wife at that time on the attack. What did they, did you have a weapon or something, or did you just beat them up physically yourself, or can you share with me a little bit about that?
I was pretty much jumped by 3 men. I was choked till I passed out, and my sister was present. And I came to, made it past them, and got a weapon out of my vehicle. Initially, I did not get out with a weapon.
Yes.
What type of injuries were inflicted
Yeah.
to these 3 people?
No one was injured. I shot the gun in the air, and that was pretty much the extent of it.
Questions for Mr. Franklin?
Mr. Franklin, was if they attacked you and you were protecting yourself, were you charged because you had an unregistered weapon?
The weapon was my father's weapon, and I mean, that wasn't why I was charged. I was charged because I assumed that they called the law, or one of the residents called the law.
What happened to them?
Well, it just kind of drug out, and I really don't know what happened to them. They didn't get charged with anything. My lawyer pretty much advised me that since, you know, that there was no point in filing charges against them because they're the one that called the police, and they had the report from the police. So, and this was in '05, so a little bit of it's hard to, you know, remember. So,
Mr. Lawson, would you like to address the commission regarding your thoughts on Mr. Franklin's employment?
My name is Leonard Lawson. I've been a car dealer in Tennessee since 1978 when I got out of school. And, this is a first for me. I've never never had to be here before the commission for any reason, and also never had to do this on behalf of a salesperson. Somebody couldn't get a license. You know, I looked at the situation and understood what the situation was, and then moved on. But in this particular case, I lost my son in a car accident in January of 2011. Since that time, it has been my mission to help people who have fallen on hard times for one reason or another. Heath was an outstanding citizen before this night when he was attacked, and he shot a gun, and it went off, and it just teaches us all about the use of a firearm. And how careful we have to be with something like that. But one of the bullets, what he failed to say was one of the bullets hit a building, and he was charged with aggravated assault because of that. And you know, that was in '05. Heath has accomplished a lot in his life, and I told him that I would stand behind him and work with him and let him work at my business. To work hard, and he has, and he's done well, and I'm very proud of what he has accomplished, and I would just appreciate the opportunity of the commission to grant him a license so that I can continue to develop Heath. I feel like it is a part of my mission in life to help young men or young women in that regard, to help them better themselves, and he has taken the necessary steps in my mind to deserve this, and I appreciate your consideration of this. Thank you very much.
Chairman,
Questions of me?
Mr. Fox.
I just want to make a comment. I've known Mr. Lawson for a long time. He's well respected in East Tennessee. I've known him as a Chevrolet dealer, now a Ford dealer, and he's even part of a Toyota store way back. But if he thinks enough of his man to come down here, I want to make a motion that we approve his license.
We have a motion to grant the license,
Second.
seconded by
Purtle.
Commissioner McNabb. Any discussion of the motion? Hearing no discussion, I call for a roll call vote.
Yes vote will be to grant the license. Commissioner Clayton? Yes. Commissioner Parr? Yes. Commissioner Purtle?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Webb?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner McNabb?
Yes.
Chairman Roberts?
Yes.
Have an affirmative vote, Mr. Chairman.
Franklin, you'll be granted a license to sell automobiles. Best of luck to you, sir. Mark A. Tony. Mr. Tony. Go right ahead, sir. Going to ask the staff for the reason for denial, and then we'll let you speak.
Tony was convicted felony of aggravated burglary, and the sentence date was 5/30/13, with a 3-year sentence to end 5/30/16 plus 5 years is 5/30/2021.
Tony, what dealership are you applying to sell car, Ted Russell Ford? All right.
Ted Russell Ford in Knoxville. Yes, sir.
Would you make some comments to the commission on why it would be a good decision for us to grant you a license?
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to thank the board for having me and having an ability to speak in front of you all. Just a little bit about myself. Like I said, Mark Toney. I'm 45 years old. I'm a citizen of Tennessee, been born and raised in Knoxville, college graduate, a military officer. I served 7 years in the Tennessee Army National Guard as an officer. After I got out, I started selling automobiles and have been in the car business pretty much ever since. I'm 45 years old, and up until 44 years old, I had never had anything other than a moving violation. And I can attribute that to doing the right things. But in the past few years, I've found myself to actually, and finally admitting that I was an alcoholic. And that has led to pretty much everything that has happened to me. I'm now in what's called a Veterans Treatment Program, sponsored with the Veterans Administration. And I can say I've been clean and sober for over 230 days now, and feel as good as I've felt since, I was young in the military. The incident happened is around this time last year, and I don't have any excuses other than it was all my fault, and to keep from dragging my family into it, I went ahead and pled guilty to the charge, and had all of the things that are happening to me hang over my head, and it was offered to me through the Veterans Administration and some friends to check out the VA's treatment, and I've been in it and successful in it for the past over 6 months now, and it's really helped me, and I apologize for even having to be here. I apologize for the time I've taken from you, because I know as a father, a college graduate, a leader, that I shouldn't be here, but I am. With that being said, I hope to get my license back to sell automobiles, and I won't let you down. I'm getting too old for stupid stuff.
Question for Mr. Tony?
Describe what you did.
Yes, on the night of it, me and a girlfriend was drinking, and I had put her out of my house to try to stop all of the heavy drinking, the yelling, and she had gone to my parents' house, and that infuriated me, and while drinking, it just escalated. Long story short, I kicked the door into my family's house, the house that I grew up in West Knoxville, and just kind of saw the light quickly, and I left there, but I kicked the door in. My family was not going to press charges, and they pushing, pulling through the district attorney's office. They were going to drag them through all kinds of legal, all kinds of things, and I went ahead and pled guilty to aggravated burglary, and just my family from being involved in all the things that it would have cost them time and money, and heartache, headache. I just said, listen, I'm going to own up to it and live with it, whatever may happen.
It looks like I was sober. Is that, am I reading?
I had a lady that was helping me with bookwork and paperwork, and she filled that out, and I apologize for that. And I did, yes, sir.
Mr. Tony, have you had a license before to sell cars? Who did you work for then?
For Ted Russell Ford in Knoxville for probably 8 years, and then a Ford dealership in Alcoa close by. It was the Neil Sandler Automotive Group Ford dealership there, and then they closed their business.
Further questions?
Yes, sir. Neil Sandler Ford in Alcoa closed several years ago. Who have you been working for since they closed, sir?
Yes, sir. I off and on, I've worked for Jim Cogdell Dodge for about 2 years. I worked there for a little while, but I had a mowing service. Most of my time in the car business was through the 90s and early 2000s. And I had a mowing business that I ran by myself, but a couple of places off and on, and Jim Cogdell Dodge was one of them. But most of my time in the car business, the bulk of time, Ted Russell Ford and Neil Sandler Automotive Group during that time.
So in the incident, you kicked in your family's door. No, you didn't rob anything. You didn't take anything. No one was hurt. Thank you.
Who called the police?
The ex-girlfriend.
Is there a motion either way for this?
Commissioner Jackson, I motion that we grant him the license.
Second.
Commissioner Jackson to grant the license, and seconded by Commissioner Fox. Any discussion of the motion by the commission? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Yes vote will be to grant the license. Commissioner Clayton? Sir? Carr? Yes. Commissioner Purtle?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Webb? Yes. Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner McNabb?
Yes.
Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, you have a majority yes.
Tony, you'll be granted a license. Good luck with your career, sir.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much, and I won't let you down. And I know
Howard Woodard. Mr. Woodard, come right ahead, sir. Hear from the staff as to the reason for denial.
Woodard has been convicted of a felony, and he disclosed such on his application. The information that he's County of Los Angeles Probation Department saying his probation had ended November 25th, 2013. So we had 5 years to.
November of this year, he would be eligible. Am I?
Probation ended 11/25/13, so he has 5.
Woodard?
Yes, sir.
You've relocated here from Los Angeles?
Yes, sir.
All right. Would you address the commission as to why we should make an exception to the rule?
Yes, sir. I was discharged from California. I had an old charge up in Jonesboro, Tennessee when I came here. And in Knoxville helped me. The lady said I could lock you up, but I'm not because you got integrity to come in here. I went in there and they asked me to turn myself in on April the 12th, which would have been a Monday. And then she called back and told me I couldn't do it because the wrong name and wrong birthday was on the warrant. I turned myself in Jonesboro April 26th. I was released June the 14th. In California, since that time, I've been discharged from California. It was a charge that I had in California. I'm now paying Jonesboro from a case from 1997. I'm paying them $200 a month. That's the only probation, the only thing that I'm on at this time, sir.
Questions?
A theft charge in Jonesboro, some jewelry that I took back in 1997. Judge Cup, I went in front of him January 31st. He's retiring in August, and he said, "You done everything I asked you to do. I'm paying $200 a month, all $4,800. I got married in July. The judge ordered my lawyer, which is Gene Scott, to handle this like a legal matter, get in touch with the jewelry store where I can try to pay the money, make it out of a legal matter." Judge Cup said he didn't want to see me no more. I went to probation Friday. The lady hit the computer. The probation lady, she said, "We have nothing to do with you. You report to Jonesboro every 4 months, and you pay $200 a month." That's what the judge ordered. That's the only probation I'm on. This case is from 1996. Petty theft. I completed several programs in California. I got married July the 5th. I purchased a home in June the 4th. I got certificates to show the programs that I completed. I don't use drugs or alcohol. I was given the opportunity to work at Oberlin Franklin Motors, and I'm selling cars. That's what I'm to support myself. That's how I paid them $200 a month restitution. I owe them $4,800. I'm not on no probation in Knoxville at all, just Jonesboro. Since November, sir. I mean, I guess I've been selling cars. I mean,
That might be illegal. Selling cars illegally for both
No,
business.
sir.
No, sir?
no, sir.
You didn't have a license?
I'm Mike Mensah. I'm the owner of Oberlin Franklin Motors.
Give me one
When-
second, sir. 1 second.
Okay.
Let the gentleman finish, and then let's have you, if you
Yes,
don't
sir.
mind. I guess Commissioner Parr had the questions, then we'll hear from him a second.
Selling cars without a license, and obviously, Mr. Mensah then, being the owner, done that. So, not here, I think.
Point's well taken. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay.
I just want to know if there were any felonies in California, and evidently there are, and I would like to hear them explained. What happened in California for you to have a police record, sir?
I had took some cologne from a cologne store. Some cologne, and when you know it's a petty, it's a felony, but it's a lighter felony, which will give you a drug program. And so when I came here, I had over a year clean here, so California discharged me off probation. I have paperwork. I'm not on no probation in California, nothing. The only case I have, sir, like I said, is the one in Jonesboro from 1996 that I'm on probation for right now, sir, at this current time. My probation officer name is Emily Rogers in Jonesboro. I report up there every 4 months, and I pay them $200 a month restitution.
So in summary, you've had felonies in 2 different states, is that?
Sir?
And to summarize this, you've had felonies in 2 different states.
Yes, sir. I had California and Tennessee, yes, sir. Like I said, I'm on probation now from a case from 1996 in Jonesboro, Tennessee. My probation officer name is Emily Rogers. I pay him $200 a month. I owe him $4,800 out of $10,000. Purchased a home, got married. People change, you know.
Hopefully. Any further questions for Mr. Woodard? If not, we'll hear from, you have someone from the dealership with you?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Woodard, okay. Go right ahead, sir. And
I'm Mike, like I said, I'm Mike Menser I am the owner of Old Ben Franklin Motors. To address your concern, we applied for an application for his sales license, and eventually, as it came back, it was denied. So we made a phone call and appealed the situation, and we were under an impression from there that he could work up until this hearing. And that's the reason I'm here. I've been selling cars for 33 years. I've owned Old Ben Franklin for 30, along with Ted Russell. I have been in front of you once before, and it's been probably about 20 years ago when I came for a salesman and I had a lot of belief in. But y'all approved his sales license. He works for us today as a GM of a dealership. I watched Bernard as he's come to our dealership about 8 months ago, and he does very good. He shows up to work early. He leaves very late, works hard. He's got married in that time. He's bought a house, and he's just a class act guy. The charges that he's talking about were back in '97, 17 years ago. I know he has a hard time speaking to you guys because, it's a tough committee, when you're looking at peers, and especially what he's going through. But he's got a lot of certificates of programs he's been to that he's completed. And, and when he came back to Tennessee, he gets hit with that 97 charge, and that was 3 years ago, that he's been paying faithfully $200 a month and hadn't missed it. I apologize to you, sir, if I'm wrong for the dealership on the sales license, but I run a respectable business, and I promise you, if I'm wrong, I'll correct it. But we did make a phone call on that, and we thought we were in the right until the hearing. Up on denial or approval, we thought we were in the right. But I can tell you, my opinion about this man is very high. I've had many salesmen apply for a job, and I've had many a salesman that were denied a salesman's license. No, we didn't ask them to come. I've been 30 years I've been here. This is my second time. And like I said, the first one, you grant it, the guy's a GM at the dealership, doing very, very well. And I hope to goodness that y'all grant this man a sales license from something that happened 17 years ago.
any questions for Mr. Menser? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, any questions for Mr. Menser? Okay.
I've got a question. Is there anything wrong with what they've done?
There'd be a question for our legal counsel in terms of selling while waiting for
Not licensed, you're not supposed to sell. That doesn't, there's no excuse or grace.
Well, now we know, you know.
Well, I like to see people work if they want to work, but it sounds like what's happened is not all his fault. Not the Bernard's fault, but you got another problem to deal with, it seems to me.
Well, the dealership would be accountable.
Yeah, we're like a lot of you guys. We have several employees. We got 50 salesmen. And, blame it, kick me in the rear end. Don't kick him. It ain't got nothing to do with it. But honest to goodness, we, out of all the years I've been in business, we applied for an application. We waited on the sales license. And, up on them being denied, we usually just say, hey, you can't work here. Like I said, 2 is the only 2 that I've ever came, him and a guy named Willie Lunday. And I hope y'all grant his license because he is a class act. He has a hard time speaking to you guys, but I promise you he's a good man. And I hope you approve his license for him.
Would he be handling cash? You have 50 salespeople.
He don't handle
Well,
cash.
who handles the money and the contracts?
You know, like your dealerships, you know, the finance.
At your store, what's typical?
It goes through the finance office, you know.
Further questions? Motion from the commission. Motion, if there's no motion, I suppose it,
Commissioner Jackson, before I make a motion, I want to make sure I understand. I understand, but I don't clarify it in my mind. The Art Woodward, and this is to the owner, he was not aware of, he's not supposed to sell cars until he's notified whether he's granted license. I mean, taking a,
Just to be honest with you, you know, we applied for an and, you know, but not, hey, nothing to do with him whatsoever.
that said, Commissioner Jackson, I motion that we grant Mr. Woodward a license.
And I'll second.
we have a motion to grant the license from Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner McNabb. Is there discussion of the motion? I think a little closer to the microphone. I don't see your light going off.
The confusion here is that we have a guy that's been selling cars now for several months illegally in the state of Tennessee and by the dealership in the state of Tennessee. So how do you correct that? Or are you just going to pass on it?
Well, I don't think that we can take an action against the dealer for unlicensed sales activity in this something up to an investigator to do. I think as just a comment, we could encourage some investigation.
Well,
but
I'm
right
wondering
now,
how this broke down. That's the question. They made a statement that they made a phone call. But they didn't say who they made the phone call to examine whether the license was valid or not.
your comments go to credibility, I think,
Maybe.
is about as much as we consider. How credible is the applicant and the dealership that would be responsible for his activity. And that's, to that point, the dealership is always responsible for the salesperson.
And are we, just the fact that you make application for a license and then you appeal it, if it gets turned down, and how long can you sell cars before that goes on, or it comes before the commission? That's the question I'm raising. It's not who did it or what did it. Why did we fall into that trap here?
Not sure we're in the trap. Maybe the dealer's in the trap. Sir, excuse me. At this point, it's commission discussion only, but we understand. Okay.
Chairman Roberts, the only reason why I made the motion is because what you just said earlier, and I've been on this board, and I really rely on a lot of the dealership owners here. If the owner allows an employee to do something, and that employee that does it is not aware of it, you can only hold that dealership responsible for that. And there's a mechanism in place in the Motor Vehicle Commission that it'll be dealt with, because I'm reasonably sure that the director will be sending some investigator out to his dealership and look at those records during that time that those cars was being sold, and that'll be handled in a proper manner. I think what we got before us is whether Mr. Bernard deserves the right to sell cars and not being blamed for something that his boss did. And I think that's what before us, based on the facts of what he did, 96, and whatever he did over in Jonesboro, Tennessee. That's what's before us. And I'm reasonably sure that the dealership will be dealt with accordingly in the future. Thank you, Chairman Roberts.
If I might add to that, I think that if an investigator goes to a dealership, looks for a license, finds an unlicensed salesperson, informs that person, that salesperson, that he or she is unlicensed, and then they continue, I think there's some recourse against the salesperson itself. In fact, we had that in legal review this morning, where a salesperson had been warned and continued. So that might be the caveat to it.
I'd like to point out that he's listed here as a female on this license application, if I'm reading it right. So there's,
State that.
well, in his application here, it's got his birthday, his eye color, his hair color, his sex, a female. So, it's, somebody needs to look into how they fill out reports.
Filled out by the office manager.
I think he ought to be able to go to work, but it's, I do think the company needs to be looked at.
Now, commission members can ask a question of the applicant. The applicant, just no one else can make a comment. Question needs to be addressed, which I'll go ahead and do. Mr. Woodard, why would it say female on your application? Else is accurate? Is the Mr. Woodard, is the address accurate, and other the address at 801 Gate Lane, apartment 210, is that?
Yes, sir. I have moved to 6354 Tennessee, sir, since that time. It was an apartment. I purchased a home on June the 4th, me and my wife.
After this applicant, okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That application would need to be corrected on the sex.
Allow a couple more minutes for thought on this, then we'll call for a roll call vote. Motion and seconded. All right, I'll call for a roll call vote.
Yes vote will be to grant the license. Commissioner Clayton,
Abstain.
Commissioner Parr. Yes. Commissioner Purtle,
Yes.
Commissioner Murray,
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett. Yes. Commissioner Webb,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson,
Yes.
Fox. Yes. Commissioner McNabb. Yes. Chairman Roberts.
Ordered you'll be granted a license. Good luck, sir. Correct that application if you would. All right. Mr. Johnny McKibben. sir. We'll hear from the staff, and then we'll hear from you, sir.
Gibbon has been counts of felony, one for possession for resale, rape, and one federal charge of distribution of cocaine. Different accounts with 3 different sentences. The last sentence is to end October of 14, and the 5 years on top of that would be October.
3 separate charges, one state and one federal, or?
Yes, one state, one federal.
Then would you like to address the commission as to salesperson?
Yes, I work for Crown of Chattanooga, and I appealed for, well, the company appealed, I tried to get some license, I think it was like 3 months ago, and I was denied because of my past. I didn't know that you had to be off parole, off paper, and everything for 5 years. I've been off for 4 years, a month or so. And I got like 11 months for my 5-year span to be over with. No trouble since then. Changed my life. I'm trying to earn a living, trying to take care of my family.
On your application, in answer to the question, have you ever been convicted of a felony, it's filled in as no.
At that time, I thought that if you've been off, didn't have a felony within a certain amount of time, you could put no. But then I found out that was wrong.
Goggins fill this out for you?
Excuse me?
Ms. Goggins fill
yes.
this out for you, Human
Yes.
Resources at the dealership?
Right.
Did she know that you'd had a felony conviction?
Well, I told her, yeah, I assume she did. I don't know, really.
Assuming this is a she, but did this
Yes,
person?
I assume she did because I told the dealership when I filled out my application. And she was Human Resource, so I assumed that she got my application.
Questions from the commission for Mr. McKibben?
On 10/27/2013, there was an assault brought against you that was dismissed. What was that?
To misunderstanding at home, it was dismissed and expunged off my record. It's supposed to be anyway. It was just a disagreement. When the police came out, they arrested me.
Felonious escape, did you, how's that happen?
Okay, I was on a program called house arrest, and I left my house and got an escape.
Say that again there.
Yeah, I was on a program called house arrest.
House arrest. I'm familiar with house arrest.
And I left my house without permission,
Okay.
and I got an escape.
How long did you stay gone?
Probably about 7 months, maybe. 7 months.
Month.
Yeah, without reporting. I mean, I came back to my house, but once I left, I broke the program rules. But I stayed out while they was looking for me about 7 months.
Anyone from the dealership here with you, sir?
No, they went through a change of management, and the person that wrote a letter and filed for me and everything, he's no longer with the company.
So your supervisor, who would have been your supervisor at the time of application, is not with the dealership?
Right. They left and went to another dealership.
Who would have been your supervisor? Was that a sales manager or general manager?
Well, the general manager, his name was TC. They called him TC. He wrote a letter to the board for me right before he left. I didn't know he was leaving, just like maybe a week before he wrote the letter. He came and told everybody that he was leaving. Stepped down from his position.
How, if an applicant is denied, staff, how long would that applicant have to wait to reapply?
By the next day, if it like.
Have to get on a schedule for the appeal?
Apply and be denied again and have to get on the schedule for the next meeting for an appeal.
Well, I worked at a place called Hawkers Power Source. We made batteries. I worked there for about almost 3 years until I started working at Crown. I left one job and went to the other one. But what I was doing was we made batteries like for forklifts, big heavy equipment batteries. And I worked there. I made pretty decent money, but it was a health hazard. When we had to take lead tests every 2-3 months, we get the blood drawn and everything, see how our lead level is doing. Is it high or low or whatever? And it's a health hazard. They make you sound wavy when you first start working there. If you catch cancer, they're not responsible. So it was a job that I didn't want to work there too long. The first opportunity that I got to get another job, I left.
What do you do for,
I'm sorry.
what do you do for Crown now?
Sell cars.
Here we go again.
Okay, let me address that. Okay, what they told me was as long as they had in a letter, they was appealing the case, and if the state came and I applied for license, they said I was okay. That's what they told me.
Present management know that you're here today appealing this case?
Excuse me?
Does the current management at the dealership know that you're here appealing
Yes,
this case?
yes, I told them, yes.
You told them. Did they ask or did?
No, I told them. I went and told them. Now, the human resource knew, but the new GM, he didn't know when I told him. He did not know
Does he
before
know
I told
now
him.
that you're here today?
Excuse me?
Does the general manager?
Yes, he
know
know I'm here. I told him that I had an appeal here. He's just been here there like maybe 3 weeks, maybe. Just been working at he been there 3 weeks.
Well, consideration is to how management of the dealership, how whether or not it endorses your effort to get a license. And there's some doubt in my mind how whether you have an endorsement from your present management to get a license and work there. Who, the owner of the dealership, is this an absentee owner or?
Yes, yes. It's Crown. They have maybe 100 stores, maybe.
Well, it's troubling that you don't have someone from the store. The GM didn't know that you're coming up here from that store.
He did know.
Until you told him.
Right.
He or her. And then your only answer is no, whether or not you had one.
Jackson, question. How long have you been selling cars at the Crown dealership?
About 3 months, 3.5 months maybe. It's my first time ever selling cars. I mean, something new to me, something I wanted to do, and was gave opportunity.
Do you remember what month you started? Just a month.
Yeah, it was March the 10th actually.
March.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. When you were first apprehended for distributing cocaine, you got a 12-year sentence, and that was on house arrest. Is that correct?
Yes.
You did not go to the state?
Not until after I violated.
And then you went to the state prison?
Yes.
And then I see here on another violation, you were sentenced to go to Federal Bureau of Prisons for 3 years. Did you do 3 years in the federal?
It was 31 months, yes.
31 months in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and what was the time frame between the time that you were on house arrest and then, I think that was in 91, and then you violated the terms of the house arrest, and then you went to state prison, and then when did you commit the crime to cause you to be incarcerated in the United States Bureau of Prisons for 3 years?
Went back to like 98, but I wasn't charged until 2002. So the charge supposed to actually happen in 98, but they supposed to did a 5-year investigation, and I was actually charged in 2002 with the crime. And I went to trial. I had 2 hung juries. I went to trial 1 year, had a hung jury, went to trial again, I had another hung jury. It was originally charged of conspiracy, and then once I had a couple hung juries, they lessened the charge for using a telephone device to make an illegal transaction. I pled guilty to that. The judge gave me 3 years.
So after you were caught the first time in 91 and went to state prison, then several years later you were caught once again and charged with a felony and sent to the Federal Bureau of Prisons. What can you tell us from the last time you served in the Federal Bureau of Prisons that you've done to change your life such that we would grant you a license to sell automobiles?
Well, I changed my surroundings, first of all. I didn't go back to the same environment that I left from. So, and I'm married, and I had a child before I left, and he was maybe 2 years old when I left, and then when I came back, he was like 6, and I missed out a lot of his life, and I swore to myself that I wasn't going back, and it changed my life, and got a job, worked at Hawkers Power Source, and then this car dealership.
During this time that you were on probation, did you ever fail a drug test?
No, never.
Thank you.
Further questions?
Is it correct that he would be eligible in October of this year? I'd like to propose that we grant him a license.
A motion to grant the license from Commissioner Parr, seconded by Commissioner Trickett. Any discussion of the motion? Hearing none, we call for a roll call vote.
Trickett? Yes. Commissioner Webb?
No.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox? Yes. Commissioner McNabb?
Yes.
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 Commissioner Parr?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton? Yes. Chairman Roberts?
No.
Mr. Chairman, you have a majority.
Okay. Given you'll be granted a license to sell vehicles, and please get your application corrected. Which says felony, no.
It should be changed. It was supposed to came back, and I wrote yes on it.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Just want to get that straight in the record. Congratulations, sir.
All right, thank you.
Good luck. Mr. Daniel Emerton. Welcome, Mr. Emerton. We'll hear from the staff, and then we'll hear from Mr. Emerton.
Emerton has been convicted of a felony manufacture of meth, attempted sale of meth, and sale of meth. Date is unknown, but he's currently in community corrections as of March of 2014. So with that said,
Monday of Cookville. Fill out your application, looks like correctly with felony, yes. All right, would you tell the commission why that we would be wise to grant you a license?
Yes, sir. First, I'd like to say thank you to the Appeals Commission for the opportunity. I've been out of the car business for over a decade. I had my license back 98 through 2001, 2002, something like that. I went through a divorce, got out of the car business. Probably one of the biggest mistakes I ever had. My boss at the time, the general manager, was Rudy Baker. He's actually here with me. It was a completely different dealership than what I'm applying for now. He was kind of like my dad wasn't around a lot for me whenever I was growing up, so I made some bad choices early on in life. And Rudy was kind of like a father figure to me. You know, he kind of looked out for me, and you know, the whole time I was selling cars before, never got in any trouble. I was doing what I needed to do. Actually, I left that dealership and went to Saturn of Knoxville as a finance manager. Then I went through my divorce, and my life just kind of spiraled out of control from there. That's where I ended up. I got these charges. You know, it was a bad time in my life. You know, and there ain't nothing worse than being in jail and actually having to call your mother and tell her, you know, Mom, now you can rest because I'm in jail and you don't have to worry about if I'm going to die or not. You know what I'm saying? It was a bad time in my life. And through the grace of God, I was able to get into a program. I've been clean almost 3 years now. And just happened to run into Rudy and at the dealership, and I miss selling cars. You know, I loved it whenever I did it before. I stayed out of trouble when I was doing it before. Right now I'm currently working in a factory, and you know, I'm just looking to get back into the car business and try and get my life back like it used to be.
Questions for Mr. Emerson?
Mr. Emerson, how long was the drug court program that you successfully completed?
Well, I got sent to DC4, which is here in Nashville. It's a residential program. I was there between 11 and 12 months. I went back to Putnam County and continued on with the 13th drug court there, which was another 14 months on top of that. And I completed that March the 6th of this year. So 24 to 25 months, 26 months, maybe something like that.
On here with you today, or?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, Rudy Baker, the gentleman I was just talking about, is here with me. Sorry.
Question, just for my own education. Felony manufacture of meth, attempted sale of meth. Did you not make a sale and got caught, or
basically
this is the one you got caught on? How does that work?
The way two of them happened, and I was on probation for those whenever I did this. Okay, the first two, the sale and delivery, I'd sold something to a confidential informant, and so I got busted for that. While I was out on bond for that, I sold something to another confidential informant, and what I sold them, they took and ate before they gave it to the actual police officer, I guess, that was with them or whatever. So they couldn't say that I'd actually sold them anything because they ate the evidence. And then the action was after that.
Baker, would you like to address the commission?
Yes, I would. Brad did work for me from 98 through like 2002. I've been in the business since 1990. This is the first trip I've ever been here. Didn't think I'd ever be here. Most people that, if they deny a license, there's a reason why, and I wouldn't be here. Don't think they deserve it, but I stick my neck out for this guy right here. I had no trouble with him in the 5 years on, at work, out of work, any customers whatsoever. Did absolutely an awesome job. Been talking with Brad now for about 4 months and wanted to make sure that he did have his life back together. Actually even talked to his dad, and I think he's ready to go back to work and ready to become a citizen and do a good job.
Would What's your position at the dealership?
General manager and partner of the store.
Questions? Okay. If you have a seat. I have a motion by Commissioner Webb to approve the license. I think it was seconded by Commissioner Murray. Any discussion of the motion? None. We'll have a roll call vote.
Yes vote will be to grant the license. Commissioner McNabb?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Webb?
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Pirtle?
Yes.
Commissioner Parr?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
Chairman Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, you have a majority to grant.
Mr. Emerson, license. Good luck with your career, sir.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
David Martin Clancy. Mr. Clancy. Welcome to the commission. We'll hear from the staff, and we'll hear from you in a sec. We'll hear from the staff, and we'll hear from you, sir, in just a moment.
Clancy's been convicted of a felony theft of property, $500 to $1,000, and theft of property, $1,000 to $10,000. His sentence date was 11/14/07. Sentence ended 11/14/12. 5 years expires 11/14/17.
Clancy, would you like to address the commission?
Yes, sir. I had back years ago, we had this ongoing drug and alcohol problem for years, and did commit the felonies. I was about to be off probation in like 11 months. I was drinking heavily, still had a drug problem. I got a DUI. They violated me on the probation. I served 6 months in the Rutherford County Detention Center. Got out of there, still drank a little, but got my life together. I've been sober, it'll be 2 years. Actually, this coming Sunday. I got in the AA program, have been in that for 2 almost complete years. Changed my life completely. Right now, I actually am working for Greenway Automotive, running the garage and body shop, and the gentleman that I work for actually on last year.
Questions for Mr. Martin? I'm sorry, Mr. Clancy.
Commissioner Jackson, the theft of property from 500 to 1,000, what was that?
If I recall correctly, it was just some items from Walmart, to be honest with you.
That was, I'm looking at this report, that happened in
Anyone from the dealership here with you today, sir?
Sir?
Anyone with
Yes,
you from
sir.
the dealership? An individual like to come up and, yes, sir. And you are, sir?
William Koenig. I own Riverside Motors in Murfreesboro. I also own Greenway Automotive, which is a mechanic shop. Marty's been with me now for about a year at the mechanic shop. He's been at work every day on time, which is 7 a.m. in the morning, works till 5 in the evening, Monday through Friday. He's been sober and straight the whole time he's been with me, I know for a fact.
You are the owner? Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve his license.
Motion by Commissioner Pirtle to grant the license and seconded by Commissioner Trickett. Discussion of the motion? Hearing none, call for roll call vote.
Yes vote will be to grant the license. Commissioner Webb?
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray,
Yes.
Commissioner Purtle,
Yes.
Commissioner Parr,
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton, Commissioner Jackson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fox, Commissioner McNabb,
Yes.
Chairman Roberts.
Yes.
You have a majority to grant.
Nancy, you'll be granted a license. Congratulations.
On Friday, we received a license in the mail for him, and I made the phone calls and found out that this was an error.
You'll be receiving another license.
Will we?
If you'd like to leave that here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mark A. Holmes. Holmes, to the commission. We'll hear from the staff, and then we'll hear from you, sir.
Holmes was convicted of a felony first-degree trafficking in a controlled substance less than 2 grams of heroin. Third count, possession of marijuana. Fourth count, possession of marijuana. Fifth count, 7/13/2016.
Holmes, would you like to address the commission, sir?
I'd like to thank you all first off for allowing me to be here today. Mark Holmes, 24 years old, currently living in Springfield, Tennessee. I am married. I have 2 children. I did get tangled up in a dark past there for a couple years, and it led me to. Since then, I have went through. Before I was sentenced, I went to a 30-day rehab. Went through some parenting classes, just different classes to better my future. After I went through sentencing, I did 6 months in jail, and I was released on parole to a 6-month rehab program. I completed that, now currently walking down my parole. I've probably got about 9 months left on parole, and then I'll be through with it. I just would like the opportunity to get into the car business. Enjoy being around cars, and I believe my family deserve me to support them.
Application is with Curtis Hester Motor Sales. Anyone from the dealership with you today? Okay, we'll hear from him in just a second. Any questions for Mr. Holmes? Someone from the dealership like to address the commission?
Thank you, Curtis Hester, one of the last of Hester batteries. I ended up in the car business while I was in that. But Mark Holmes is one of my grandsons. I have 13 grandchildren. Mark now works for the dealership as a detail man, running, driving cars to and fro, and just a lot handyman, getting keys made, whatever. He's kind of, I was at Hazel's Auto Sales for 10 years on Dixon Road, DBA Curtis Hester, Hazel Auto Sales, and I closed that lot and went to Springfield. We've been there 11 years. I'm a consultant for the car lot. I do the buying. Basically, it's what I do for it because I'm 70 years old, and I'm trying to back away. I pastor a church in Springfield. I've been a minister for 43 years. Mark Allen made a great mistake. He went back to Paducah at age 16 and graduated in Paducah, Kentucky there, and got to working in a restaurants, and my understanding about everybody done pills, and I didn't give him no exempt, but he got involved in it and ended up in heroin after that. He's not a violent man, never has been, never has known to steal anything. He's just upgoing. He's got messed up on drugs, and when he got arrested, of course, endangerment, naturally the children was there in that house, but they never found no weapons in the house or in cars or anything like that. And it was just because he was hooked on it. My understanding is the records showed that I was there at the court. He had called and wanted help. He needed help to get deliverance from his drug problem, and that was his question. I need help. Would you please help me get deliverance? So we worked with him through that, and a year out on bail, and they granted him come to Tennessee that we supervise, and he stayed on his own accord for 1 year in rehabs, parenting, drug classes, and then when he went back for the sentencing in a year ago, July, like he spoke, he spent 6 months in jail and then another 6 months in rehab there with trips back and forth to Tennessee. They release him on the weekend. He's under probation now. She does drug tests every time he goes, every week. But he's been clean for over 2 years, and it's because he set his mind he was going to do it, put his family back together. And they immediately got in church, if that means anything to you, and they're great helps in church also, committed, and that's his desire. He's kind of been around the cars and myself for years, peeling around and hanging out, and he's very familiar with them. He just likes cars, so he asked if we could move him to a salesman, and he's so sharp with a smartphone and the internet and all. I've seen it right away. There'd be a lot of help for us because we've never kind of been in that technology, because I'm illiterate myself, but I do have a phone. So I asked for Mark to have his license because he'll be a great help in the industry to the Curtis Hester Motors. Not only that, but he keeps telling me he needs to make more money for his family, and I agree. And I believe he could make more money than being a handyman on the car lot. But I'm not ignorant. When we received that back, Miss Hazel, the owner, Hester, she consulted with him about it, and I said, well, be sure he doesn't price any cars. Be sure he sends people in to see the salesman, which is the manager. We did have a question, could he write the deal if he didn't have no selling? I called up here, and they said, absolutely not. It's like selling. So he's been patient, we've been patient, and we would really appreciate and thank you very much if you consider that license for that young man and his family. Any questions?
Mr. Don't hear you may have a seat. Any motion?
Commissioner Jackson, I motion that we grant him his license.
Jackson makes a motion to grant the license. It was seconded by Commissioner Fox. Is there discussion of the motion? Hearing none, we call for a roll call vote.
Yes vote will be to grant the license. Commissioner Webb.
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett.
Yes.
Commissioner Murray.
Yes.
Commissioner Pirtle.
Yes.
Commissioner Parr.
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton. Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Fox. Commissioner McNabb. Chairman Roberts. Mr. Chairman, you have a majority to grant.
Holmes, you'll be granted a salesperson's license to sell cars at Curtis Hester Motors. Good luck with your career, sir.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having the time.
Arius Jamal Kane. Kane, are
Hey,
you?
please, the Commissioner Richard Smith. I'm an attorney here in town, and Mr. Kane asked me to come talk to the commission.
We'll hear from the staff, and we'll hear from you fellows.
Kane's been convicted of a felony theft of property at $1,000 to $10,000 and aggravated burglary. Sentence date was 3/27/13. March 27, 2022.
Mr. Kane was driving an automobile during the commission of a burglary. As a result, he
violation. He's completed 2 of the 3 years without violation. Mr. Kane's been employed with AT&T since he was
Kane, would you like to address the commission?
Well, I mean, I really don't know where to start. I have custody of, I don't have any kids of my own. I have shared custody of 2 little girls. I was adopted growing up. My mother's legally blind. I have power of attorney over her. Consequently, she wanted to adopt her 2 grandkids. So she adopted them, and I have power of attorney over her, shared custody of them. So, of course, the income helps. Right now, like I said, I'm at AT&T. Income is, yeah, I understand I was wrong what I did. I was in the car. I was there. I didn't go inside the house at all whatsoever. And the record should show that. No fingerprints. There was no residue, glove residue on my hands for me having gloves on. And there were no fingerprints in the house of mine at all whatsoever. I was in the car the whole time. I'm not proud of it, but I was in the car. I mean, really smoking. That's what I was doing. I'm just going to be honest with you. Never went inside the house. And really, at the time, wasn't aware that it was a burglary. We stayed in the same place for about an hour. Same place. Didn't move, did nothing. He told me once we got caught, of course, that it was a burglary. Well, obviously, once you get caught, they tell you what's going on. I played ball and things in the area, so I knew the police, the officers, and they were shocked. And I mean, these guys even took me to they didn't even handcuff me. They took me to get McDonald's and things before they even took and booked me. I mean, it's just how my character, or what you call it, was with them. Since then, I haven't been in trouble at all whatsoever. I haven't even had so much as a parking ticket. My MVR's clean. I haven't had any prior records to that, any prior anything. Don't intend to, I promise you. After this is my first set of charges. The judge said as long as I complete everything and pay off within, like I'm supposed to pay, like I have been paying, I get my diversion to come off my record, since it was my first and only one. I've sold cars in the past, sold for Suzuki Nashville, sold for Carnival Kia as well. And around that time, the car industry went down. I went to AT&T, had a job offer at AT&T, went there, and really been there since, and got incarcerated. I got back out, and they took me back just because they knew the situation the whole time, and they knew the diversion, and they knew everything. I wasn't hiding anything from them. And I would just really appreciate to get back into the car industry. I have a great opportunity waiting for me upon approval of or denial of my salesman license.
What do you do at AT&T, sir?
Everything. U-verse sales. I do all sales pretty much. U-verse, telephone sales, just sales. Yes, sir.
Questions for Mr. Kane?
Mr. Kane, was anyone hurt in the commission of this robbery?
No, sir, and actually I went out of my way to make sure. The door was broke, and the way the house is set, you couldn't see it from the street that the door and all that was broke. You couldn't see it just the way the house is set and the door is set to the side. But I went out my way before we even got to trial or anything. I want to say maybe the next 2 weeks, and it's probably on record, that I went ahead and had that fixed, paid and had it fixed. Like I said, I really wasn't under the impression what was going on. We stayed at this place for an hour. I didn't get out the car. I was smoking. Well, we stayed about 30 minutes. We stayed in the same area for an hour. My brother lives 2 or 3 doors down. We stayed in the same area. So, I mean, it'd be stupid for me to know that this place is getting robbed and I stay in the same area in the same car, if you see what I'm saying. But the judge felt like, hey, and just like I told the judge, I do feel responsible, and I am responsible. I was there. And he agreed, and he said, well, this is what we'll do. And that's where the plea came in at.
What made you go to this particular dealer to ask for a job, this particular store?
Actually, I sold Jerry a phone, his cell phone, actually. And probably sold him every accessory with it, too. And he just kind of said, hey, man, you'll make a great car salesman. And we started talking. I told him I'd been in car sales. I would like the opportunity. So he tried to give me the opportunity to sell cars. And, of course, we rode in. I got denied, and I couldn't sell cars, of course. So, and that was that. Sold cars before, loved selling cars, good at selling cars, great at selling cars. I know almost everything there is to know about a car when someone asks, and no hesitation with it or nothing like that. So, I mean, why not do something you're good at?
Would someone from the dealership like to address the commission?
Some of y'all might recognize me. You gave me my license 2 years ago, and I want to appreciate it. I'm trying to hand back. I manage 2 Automasters, Madison and West Nashville now. I met him a year ago at AT&T, and I thought he'd be a good salesman. And he said that he had a stint at Nashville Suzuki like several years ago. So I told him once he come fill an application, and he'd have to go through the process I went through. And hopefully you won't deny him like you did my first time. But I was persistent enough and came back, and it's paid off. And I want to thank you, fellas. And I hope you'll grant him the same. And we do implement drug testing, and he is on probation. And I believe he has to go once a month. So it'd be a good opportunity for him. I appreciate you.
Questions? Motion?
Commissioner Jackson, I motion that we grant him the license.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jackson and seconded by Commissioner Webb to grant the license. Any discussion of the motion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Trickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Myrtle?
Yes.
Commissioner Parr?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
Chairman Roberts?
Yes.
You have majority to grant.
Mr. Kane, you'll be granted a license to sell automobiles. Good luck with your career, sir. Harry Henley Willingham. Morning, Mr. Willingham. We'll briefly hear from the staff, and then we'll hear from you, sir.
Willingham is convicted of a felony of tampering with evidence. Senate, August the 25th, 2009. Sentence ending in September of 2008.
Willingham, would you like to address the commission?
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for letting me speak on my own behalf. I've actually discharged that case completely. Earlier this year, January this year, I discharged parole. I'm completely finished. But the child that caught those charges versus the man that stands before you today are two completely different people. Upon being incarcerated, I completed every program within the prison system of Texas that I could that would change my way of thinking, including cognitive intervention and changes. And I became a peer educator to teach through MHMR on communicable diseases to other people that were in prison with me. Upon getting released from prison, I went to a halfway house where I transitioned to a place of recovery. I completed the program at the place of recovery and became a house manager at the same place, where I mentored several dozen people that came through the door that were just coming off the streets and off of drugs. Since I got married to a beautiful woman who had a 9-month-old son at the time, and I've helped raise this child, and he is now a little older than 3. We are now 15 weeks pregnant with our second child. I left Texas to come to Tennessee not to run from my problems, but to start fresh. I've been working for 321 Drive for a period of 15 months doing lot work and secretarial work. But I know for a fact that I'm very good at selling cars. I've done it before. I would love to do it again. I'm trying to move forward with my life. I'm trying to help my family move forward in life, and I'm trying to start a career. And I really hope you guys bless me with a sales license so I can start doing such things.
Questions for Mr. Willingham?
Sir, what exact crime did you commit, tampering with evidence?
It was more along the lines in the company I was keeping at the time. I was guilty of being around the wrong people, and they possessed stolen lottery tickets. I went to cash them in, which resulted in me being guilty of the theft. When the convenience store wouldn't cash them, I ripped them up and threw them in the trash can, and that was tampering with physical evidence.
Stolen lottery tickets?
Yes, sir.
Why wouldn't the convenience market cash them?
Sorry?
Why were they not cashed? I don't know too much about that, but why were they not cashed?
I mean, I don't understand it either. I just know that I was hanging out in an apartment early one morning, and two kids from the neighborhood came by, and this is when I was doing drugs and I was keeping the wrong company, period. And their story to me was the wrong person was working as a cashier. They didn't have their ID. They couldn't go cash the lottery tickets. Would you please do it for me? I happen to have plenty of cash in my pocket, so I said, well, here, I'll just give you the cash for them. You know, I'll just go do it later. I don't feel like really getting out of the house right now. A couple hours later, I ran out of cigarettes, so I went ahead and went to the convenience store anyway. Got everything I'd planned to get, and then went to cash the lottery ticket. And whenever she ran it through the machine, her reaction was, my God, you must have won a lot of money. And I said, why do you say that? She said, because you have to take this to the lottery commission to cash it. So I look at the lottery ticket, and I look at the back of it, and I read it, and then I look at the front again. I said, it only looks like $20 to me. Do you see the same thing? And after she inspected it, she saw the same thing, so I handed her the second lottery ticket. There were two. She scans it, and the same thing happened. So I went ahead and paid cash for everything that I'd put out on the counter, walked outside, ripped the lottery tickets up, threw them in the trash, and that was theft and tampering with evidence. But once again, the company I was keeping at the time is what resulted in that. And I have no tolerance for that anymore at all whatsoever, especially being a family man, having a 3-year-old son and about to have another child. Being a father, more than anything, has taught me that my son needs to keep the right company. Otherwise, whatever failures his friends have that he happens to be a part of is going to kick back on him as well.
Someone from the dealership here.
Sir.
Sir, would you like to address the commission?
Well, my name is Damien Rahimi, manager at 321 Drive. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to hear this appeal. Gary came to our office about a little over a year ago, and during the interview, he was honest about his past, and he said he was, a changed person. He was new to the state. I think he'd only been there probably about 4 or 5 months, and all of his problems were back in Texas, so we did take a chance with him, and we haven't regretted it. He's worked hard every day and come to work on time, hasn't had any excessive absenteeism or anything like that. He's a hard-working person. He's a family person now, and he deserves this opportunity, and his family deserves this opportunity, and we would appreciate it if you guys would give him a chance.
Come to your store to apply.
Not 100% sure, but it should have been a response to a Craigslist ad for a lot boarder. I don't remember exactly which ad, but it was in response to an advertising we had for a job.
What age is your dealership? How long have you been in business?
321 Drive has been there since January 1st, 2012. Before that, my father, he also has NNS Auto Parts, which has been around for decades, and Imports Collision Center, which has been around for a long time also.
You got 5 years for doing this? 5 years
Yes,
in
sir.
jail?
Yeah, well, I served 2.5, and I got a mandatory release on parole. Then I went to the place of recovery, finished that program, got an interstate compact to come to Tennessee, and completed my parole in Tennessee just this past January.
Did they drop the third-degree felony charge?
No, sir. No, sir. That was what I got the 5 years for, the tampering with physical evidence. Texas has a different way of setting out their felonies. They have felonies 1 through 3, and then they have what's referred to as a state jail felony, which in most states is a high-end misdemeanor. But Texas and Florida are pretty harsh in terms of their felonious records. The tampering with physical evidence, I was absolutely guilty of. I mean, there was no fighting that because I had stolen lottery tickets and I did rip them up and I did throw them in a trash can. So obviously I didn't fight any of it. I just took the plea bargain of 5 years on that felony 3.
Mr. Chairman, I move it we approve his license.
Turtle? Seconded by Commissioner Fox. Any discussion of the motion? Okay. We'll have a roll call vote.
This vote will be to grant
You
the
may sit down,
license.
sir.
Commissioner Trickett,
Yes.
Commissioner Murray,
Yes.
Commissioner Purtle,
Yes.
Commissioner Parr,
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton,
Yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
Commissioner McNabb,
Yes.
Chairman Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, you have the majority.
Mr. Willingham, you'll be granted a license to sell automobiles. Good luck with your career. Thank you. All right, I guess that concludes our appeals. Director's report.
Find in your packet the disciplinary report for April, May, and June 2014. These are actions taken against a license holder. In the case of the dealers, there will be civil penalties that have been paid. We're also required now to list actions taken against license holders for student default, debt default, and also child support. So those actions taken against the license holders are included in your packet as well. I'll give you a moment to review that, and then we'll go on to the license holders themselves. Last commission meeting in April 2014, the staff has been quite busy processing applications. We've opened 66 new dealerships. Applications in process. We've increased manufacturers and distributors by 3 license holders. The auctions remain the same. We've increased representatives by 9. Last quarter. We have 1 more RV dealer and 1 more RV manufacturer licensed in the state. Falling off to just 2 this last quarter. Activity going on in the office in regards to applications.
Questions about the director's report? No questions or objections? I look for a motion to approve. Motion to approve the director's report by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner McNabb. Since there were no questions earlier, I assume that we can have we can do a voice vote on this one. Roll call vote. Roll call vote.
All vote on whether to approve the director's report. A yes vote will be to approve. Commissioner McNabb?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Webb?
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Pirtle?
Yes.
Commissioner Parr?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
Chairman Roberts?
Yes. Thank you, Director Stribling. Ms. Cooper, legal report.
Yes, sir. To the commission members, I presented the legal report this morning to the Legal Review Committee. Following changes. You'll find on page 11, case number 46, there was a word left out that makes a big difference. The 20140007741, the last sentence should say that the respondent did not contest or pay the citation. Case number 69. 17, the first sentence in that paragraph should read, the above respondents were issued agreed citations for acting as a salesperson without a license, is how it should read. The other change that was suggested was that the current civil penalty mentioned for numerous respondents for failing to respond to commission correspondence. I recommended a $250 civil penalty. It was approved that the civil penalty be instead $1,000 for those respondents, and you will find, and I will submit that on the other than those changes I've just mentioned, it is as written and as submitted to you here today.
Any questions for
Motion that we adopt the Motor Vehicle Commission legal report.
Question, please, for legal counsel. Yes, sir. Ma'am, I noticed that they're suspending the license for unpaid child support.
Yes, sir.
If that salesperson works something out between the child support office and the judge and gets back on some type of agreed upon between two parties pay schedule, does their license become active again?
Yes, sir. For child support specifically, they notify us via an order. We get them every day, and their license automatically goes back into active status.
Right. And then delinquency of student loans, how is that handled?
The same way. Once they are in compliance, we are notified, and their license again becomes immediately active. Yes, sir.
We have a motion to approve. Waiting on a second. Second by Commissioner McNabb. Roll call vote. A yes vote would be to approve the legal report.
McNabb?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Webb?
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Pirtle?
Yes.
Commissioner Parr?
Yes.
Chairman Roberts?
Yes. Legal
Chairman,
report.
Before we
Please.
move on, I have two other legal matters that are not legal report related, but I do need to bring them to the commission's attention, if I may. Earlier this morning, we had the rulemaking hearing. There was no one that stood up and said they wanted to make any kind of comment here at the meeting. I should have also pointed out that the agency did not receive any written comments, and so there were no comments made on that rule. So that just for the record, I wanted to make sure that was clear. There is also another matter involving a hearing that is currently scheduled for tomorrow in front of the commission. It's docket number 12.17-124462A. J&J Auto Sales, the second doing business as Jerry L. Harris. At this time, I would ask for authorization for that matter to be held by an administrative law judge only. Mr. Glandorf is going to be representing the state in that matter, and it is at his request that I make this motion. I think it can be handled, we both think it can be handled without the commission having to sit in on that.
So moved.
Second it. Commissioner
Jackson.
Jackson.
And the motion is to approve the case being heard tomorrow by an administrative law judge.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a roll call vote.
Carr? Commissioner Purtle?
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett? Yes. Commissioner Webb? Yes. Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Clayton? Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner McNabb? Yes. Roberts?
Yes.
Chairman, I have a memorandum for your signature, if I may bring it up to you.
Was there anything else that you needed authorization for in your report? Okay. Fine job by the staff. I don't know if that was old, but that was old business, that legal. Anyway, I don't see anything on the agenda for old business, and we're moving to new business. And I would like to ask the commission to approve our calendar of meetings for 2015. You should have that in front of you. If you look at that and see if you can know what you're doing anything on those dates, and don't approve. Wife's birthday.
Mr. Chairman, on the second Tuesday of every month, I have a bank board meeting and an executive committee meeting. There's two incidences of, it looks like administrative hearings on the 13th of January and the 21st and, oh, I'm sorry, the 14th of July.
Anyone else on the commission that has a regular conflict with any of these?
A question on September the 7th. Is that Labor Day, or is that, when is that? Labor Day? Should, I guess it's Labor Day.
Labor Day's the 1st. That's a Tuesday.
Official that Labor Day is September 7th?
I don't know.
First Monday of
It's always the first Monday in that month.
Change that one then.
Not to meet that date and would make a recommendation of the 14th of September.
Save Commissioner McNabb. I'm hearing September 14th. Hearing no objections, that's, I'll ask for a motion to approve. That one?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Commissioner Fox, motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Purtle. Let's just do this by voice vote. All those that are approve the motion to, for the dates of the meetings in January 15, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We have a calendar of meetings. And else on the, anything to be said for the good of the commission or the state of Tennessee? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Just before you do that, Chairman, I just got one. I'm pretty sure the staff was taking some minutes on what we heard on 2 dealerships, okay? Huh?
Question answered?
Yes.
All right. Now, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
By voice vote, do we adjourn? Say aye.
Aye.
We adjourn. Thank you. I don't know if I have to vote on that or not. There we go. Are you hungry, Ronnie?
I was trying to hurry back to the meeting. I just got a text. It's been postponed, so I'm in good shape.
I think we go to 1:30 on this one.
Yeah.
Good and cool up there.
I didn't either.
It worked out good.
Yeah, it worked out good. For what time is it?
You gonna make it, right? Joe, I just got the next moment. I'm John, that's you. How you doing?
See you, Reed. Okay, Kerry.
See you, Mr. Roberts. See you, Reed. Jim does.
Always a pleasure.
Chairman. Kevin's pilot.
Glad to see you speak with me, Joe. That's lively.